Susan, hi. Okay, so I was reading through your writing, and I definitely agree with this guy. It's much, much, much more compelling. Just the way that he's looking up here, just it really adds to the narrative. So I was very, very pleased to see that that you had elected to use that guy back in here. Good job changing the shirt. I was kind of alluding to that last week, and I'm so glad that you went ahead and changed this. Yeah, and I'm really glad to hear that you didn't feel the other guy was working, the other fella that you had put in there, because I totally agree. So a lot of times I want students to kind of pick up things on themselves, pick up things on their own. So I kind of allude to those things without actually, actively directing and saying, "Hey, let's change this." Do you see what I'm saying? I think it's more beneficial that way. So I'm so glad you picked up on that and changed that. I think it's much more effective. Okay, you mentioned you changed the hair. That's great. It looks fantastic. But also you use the word eraser, and every time I see the word eraser, I cringe when I'm teaching a Photoshop class, because when I see eraser, I think of destruction of pixels. I think of non-maintenance of non-destructive editing by using the eraser tool. And anything you can do with an eraser, the eraser tool erases pixels. It removes them. It destroys them. Anything you can do with the eraser tool, you can do with masking. So I always say use masking. That way you're preserving full 100% editability in the image. And when I say editability, I'm not only talking about being able to edit right within this file, but also not having to go out to the original file and make the changes and then replace the file. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's so important. And I just want to mention that the use of, I don't know if you've read about smart objects yet, but if you haven't, then take a good read on smart objects. They're amazing. So basically, what a smart object would allow you to do is, in this image right here. So if you have this image placed here with the mask, of course, you can just go right in and change the mask, right? If you don't have this image placed with the mask, you can place it and then place it as a smart object. You can link back out to the original image, change the mask, save it, and then when you resave this, it'll reflect it as a change in this composition itself. Okay, so read up on smart objects. Okay, so I think that's all I really had is. The little icons. I want to talk about those. Okay, a bit of steam above the coffee cup. Yep. Okay, so there's just two areas in the piece that I want to ask about, and I've got the piece up right here. So let's go ahead and take a look. So the one thing I want to see is a background image. I think it's still just a little bit flat, and I think some of it might have to do with the fact that you've got this kind of glow around him. And I'm not real sure we need that. Try removing that and see how it works. Because right now I'm just taking a look at the blacks. And the blacks associated with the man are much more rich and dark than blacks associated with the background image. That points to an adjustment layer on the background image to enhance these blacks a little bit. Now, if you find distortion, then you could come in here and reduce the contrast in here. But you want to find a happy medium between the two. The typography is fantastic. Nice job. Great job on your typography, though. I think these are interesting, but they're just too hard to see. They're too hard to see in here. Plus, I think that the way they're configured makes it look like she's looking at these icons, which she is not, right? She's off in some kind of a dreamland somewhere thinking about things, right? So these are alluding to the things that are happening in her life, but they're really difficult to see. My recommendation is to not bring them up so high. Instead of having them kind of coming out of this side of the cup and kind of, fanning out to the right, just maybe kind of have them like, I don't know, just maybe not as high, but just kind of fanning out, maybe a couple this way, and then a couple up here, and then a couple over this way. But I would pack these a little bit more closely, and then also I would introduce new colors to these, even just primary colors, or just try to introduce new colors here just to give them a little bit more visibility, because I think that's pretty key right there, not only to the composition, but also to the narrative. So we got to get those into a place where they're going to be visible, and we don't want the viewer to be confused with her looking at the icons. Okay, so or the little symbols. So see how you can reconfigure those little symbols and recolor them to add more visibility. All right. Other than that, I'm loving this piece. Fantastic. Good choices. Great writing. Outstanding work so far. All right. Thanks so much.